Hello, hello, hello. How are y'all doing on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day? Happy Tuesday. How are y'all doing? Thanks so much for joining. Listen, today we are going to be getting into the thing. We're going to be talking about why your coaching offer isn't done yet. And we're going to specifically be talking about the three decisions that you keep skipping. We are going to be talking about why most coaching offers don't get finished. We're going to be talking about the who decision and why a demographic is not the same thing. We're going to be talking about the transformation decision and why nobody buys activities. We're going to be talking about the price decision and the maths and what makes the math case better than any other mindset shift. We're going to talk about why these three decisions, they talk to each other and they have to be made together. And then finally, I want to get into what shifts the moment that all three of these decisions are committed to. So by the end of this episode, you will know exactly which decision you have been skipping and what it has been costing you. Does that sound okay with you? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Now, before I get too deep into this, let's do a quick tech check. And if you can see me and hear me okay, please drop a yes in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. I am coming at you live today from Denver, Colorado, and I am so glad that you are here, okay? So I want to start today with something that might be a little uncomfortable. There is a woman in your network right now who needs exactly what you know. There is a woman right now today in your network who needs exactly what you know because she's navigating something that you've already navigated. She's making mistakes that you've already made and learned from. She is spending money on solutions that are not as good as what you could offer her. And she's doing all of these things without you. And it's not because what you don't have, it's not because you don't have what she needs. It's because you never finished your offer. You never finished the offer that you can put in front of her. And that is what today's conversation is about. Most coaching offers never get built because the person building them doesn't have the skills. That's not the reason. And it's also not because your niche isn't right. And it's not because the timing is wrong. Most coaching offers never get built because three specific decisions never got made. And I want to talk to and walk you through all three of those decisions today, because I feel like once you understand what they are and what it costs you to skip them, the picture of why some coaches sign clients in the first month and other coaches are still workshopping 12 months later, I think that picture starts to get a little bit more clear. Welcome back to another episode of Nick at Noon. My name is Nick Scott, and I'm the founder and CEO of Her Income Edit. We are an online education platform where we help professional women turn their existing skills that they've been building into coaching income and digital products that they own. And they do this without leaving their 9 to 5, without burnout, and without starting from scratch. Happy Tuesday. On Tuesdays here on Nick at Noon, we talk strategy. But before we get further into today's content, I need to mention real quick that Her Income Lab registration is open. Hey, Her Income Lab registration is open. Hey, listen. It is $147 for general admission, and you can upgrade to the VIP for $297. We will be going live on May 30th at 9 a.m. sharp Eastern Time. And we are building your coaching offer together in real time. Registration will close on May 29th. The link is in the description, or you can go to my website at herincomeedit.com/workshop. Okay? If you haven't already, go get your notebook and your pen or whatever it is that you take notes on. Share this episode with your biz bestie. And if you have questions, drop them in the chat if you're watching live. If you are watching the replay, you can leave your questions and feedback in the comment section. If you're watching live, I will be checking periodically to see if there are any questions. And if you're watching the replay, I will get to your question when I get to it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, before I tell you what the 3 decisions are, I want to talk about why most coaching offers never get finished. Because I think that this is a conversation that honestly most people don't even have. So here's the thing that I see happening over and over again. A woman decides she wants to build a coaching business, right? She has the skills, she has the experience, she has the knowledge that would genuinely help people. And then she starts doing all the things. She starts researching her niche. She looks at what other coaches are charging. She starts watching YouTube videos about building an offer, and she fills out all the worksheets. But here's what happens. 6 months later, that offer still isn't built. Has anybody been there before? Drop a yes in the comments if this is resonating. Because here's the thing. That is not a knowledge problem. That is not a skills problem. That's a time problem, and it's a decision problem. And every coaching offer requires 3 specific decisions to be made. Somebody drop made in the comments. These decisions, they're not considered, they're not workshopped, and they're not held loosely as possibilities. They are made. Somebody drop made in the comments. Every coaching offer requires 3 decisions to be what? Made. And most people skip at least one of these decisions. And spoiler alert, the one decision that most people skip, it's usually the same one. And the decision that gets skipped is the one that determines whether or not your offer gets in front of another human being. So let's talk about all 3. And I want you to think about, as I'm going through these, I want you to think about which one you're currently avoiding, because I think by the end of this conversation, you're going to know exactly where you're stuck. Okay? So let's talk about this first decision. The first decision is the who decision. The first decision every coaching offer requires is the who decision. And I want to be very clear about what I mean, because I think a lot of people believe they've made the who decision when they haven't. The who decision is not a demographic. It's not choosing your demographic. It is not women between the ages of 35 and 55. That's not a who decision. That is a demographic. The who decision is not a category. Professional women, that doesn't satisfy the who decision because that's a category. The who decision is not an interest. So women who want to build a coaching business, that is not a who decision, that is an interest. The who decision is specific enough that a real person, a real life human being, can read your description or hear your description and immediately feel like, that's me. And let me say that again because I think that this is really important. The who decision is specific enough that a real life human being can read or hear your description and immediately think that's me. Not that it could maybe apply to me or that I fit some of those criteria. The who decision makes it crystal clear that when someone reads your description or they hear it, they immediately see themselves in it. I think it was last week we talked about the reflection and it being a mirror. And if you missed that episode, I encourage you to go back and watch the replay on my YouTube channel. I think it was on Tuesday, actually. So here's what specific looks like. A specific who is the registered dietitian who has spent 10 years in clinical settings and wants to build a private practice but doesn't know how to attract clients outside of a hospital system. That is a very specific who. Another example of a specific who is the first generation professional woman who has finally made it into a leadership role but feels completely out of her depth in the rooms she worked her whole life to get into. Another example of a specific who is the woman who has been in the same organization for 15 years and has watched everyone around her get promoted while she keeps getting told she needs to work on her executive presence without anyone telling her, what exactly does that even mean? Can you feel the difference between those and the demographic description? Give this video a thumbs up if you can feel that difference, because that specificity is the difference between an offer that speaks to everyone and means nothing and an offer that speaks to one person so directly that she feels seen before you've even said a word. Now, here's why people don't make the who decision. People don't make the who decision because it feels like specificity. And specificity often feels like exclusion, and exclusion feels like leaving money on the table. It feels like if I get too specific, won't I miss people who could have benefited from my coaching? And I'm going to be real honest with y'all with this. Yes, you will miss people who could have benefited from your coaching, because some people shouldn't benefit from your coaching. Some people will self-select out because of your specificity. And here's what I know. The clients who are the easiest to sign, the clients who are the most committed to do the work, and they're most likely to refer other clients are almost always the ones who felt like your offer was written specifically for them. These people, they just don't stumble across your content and think this might kind of sort of apply possibly to my situation. They stop scrolling because they feel like you're talking directly to them. And the only way that happens is with specificity. Listen, vague offers don't stop scrolls. They don't start conversations, and they don't get shared. Specific offers do. So please understand this. The who decision is not about narrowing your market. It's about speaking specifically to the right person. And I mean so specifically that she can't imagine working with anybody else but you. That is the goal. And it only happens when the decision is made, not just made, but committed to. Remember last Monday we talked about the decision to make the decision versus honoring the decision? Again, if you missed that conversation, I believe the thumbnail says something like stuck like Chuck. If you missed that conversation, I encourage you to go back to my YouTube channel and watch the replay. because it is all about the decision. Okay. Decision number 2. The second decision every coaching offer requires is the transformation decision. And this is the one that most women have the hardest time with. So drop a T in the comments if you struggle with this one, because I want to see how many people are in this same boat. Because the thing is, most coaches, they describe their offer in terms of what they do. So they say something like, I help women with career development, or I coach women through leadership transitions, or I support women who are navigating professional challenges. And here's the problem with those statements. Like, that's what you do, but it's not a transformation. It's what you do, and it's not a transformation, because those are activities. I help women with career development. I coach women through leadership situations. I support women who are navigating professional challenges. Those are activities. It's what you do. And nobody buys what you do. Nobody buys activities. People buy the transformation. And a transformation is the specific, concrete change in your client's life that happens as a direct result of working with you. It is the before and after. What is your client like before they work with you? What is your client like after they work with you? Where does your client start and where does she end up? What does she have when the work that she's doing with you, what does she have now that she didn't have when she started? So let me show you the difference. Activity. So what I'm getting ready to say right now is an activity. I help women with career development. That is an activity. That is what you do. That is not a transformation. So let's take that same activity and turn it into a transformation. I help mid-career women who feel invisible in their organizations clarify exactly what they want next, build the internal visibility to get it, and walk away with a concrete plan they're already executing. So do you hear that? Do you hear that? The second version has a clear before, it has a during, and it has an after. It describes something that changes, something that moves. And here's the thing about transformation language. It doesn't just make your offer clearer, it makes your sales easier. Because when someone is deciding whether to invest in your coaching, she is not just evaluating the activities that you described. She's literally imagining herself at the end of the engagement. What does her life look like? What changed? What is she able to do now that she couldn't do before? So if your offer language doesn't answer those questions, she cannot even picture or visualize the after. And if she cannot picture, imagine, or visualize the after, she can't justify the investment. So the transformation decision is the commitment to describing your offer in outcome language instead of activity language. So what I mean by that is start to describe your offer not in the language of what you do, but in the language of what changes. And it has to be specific, not generally better in terms of what changes, but specifically, concretely, and measurably better in a way that your potential client can literally point to. Now, let me tell you why this decision is so hard for women to make. And it's because committing to a specific transformation, it means committing to actually delivering that transformation. And delivering it means that you're probably going to be evaluated. It means that you can succeed on delivering it, or you can fall short. And when you have a vague offer, it can't fall short because it never promised anything specific. And a specific offer can be held accountable. But here's the thing, that's what you want. Accountability is what makes you better. Accountability is how you grow, it's how you evolve, it's how you make more money in this industry. And for a woman who has built a reputation on delivering excellent work, the fear of committing to an outcome and not delivering it is real. So I don't want to minimize it. But here's the thing that I want you to think about. You have already delivered this transformation. You've done it informally. You've done it without a framework. You've done it without even charging for it. You have already delivered this transformation in the conversations you've had, in the people you've mentored, in the colleagues. You've walked through exactly what your coaching addresses. So the transformation you deliver, it is not hypothetical because it has already happened. You just haven't committed to delivering it on purpose, with structure, or for money. That commitment is the transformation decision. Okay? So let's talk about this third decision. I promised 3. We're going to get into 3. We've already talked about 2. We talked about the who decision. We talked about the transformation decision. And now we're about to talk about decision number 3 that every coaching offer requires, and that is the price decision. And I'm going to say something right now that I want you to think about instead of just nodding past. Most women in this industry are charging half of what they should be charging. Not a little bit under what they should be charging. Most women are charging half of what they should be charging. And they've convinced themselves that the number they settled on is realistic, responsible, and reflective of where they are in their journey, and it isn't. That number is reflective of what feels safe. And safe and sustainable, they're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. And here's the math that nobody ever wants to talk about. If you're charging $500 for 8 weeks of coaching, you need 20 clients a year to generate $10,000 a year. 20 clients. 20 clients. And I said a year because I couldn't even imagine working with 20 clients in 1 month. So that's why 20 individual clients in 1 month. So that's why I stretched the timeline to a year. So if you're charging $500, you need 20 clients to generate $10,000. That is, listen, this is the part why I said I can't even imagine working with 20 individual clients, because here's what it requires. It requires 20 individual intake calls. It requires 20 individual sets of weekly sessions. That's 20 hours a week already out your week, gone. Right? You have a full life. You are working a 9 to 5. Do you have an extra 20 hours a week to set aside to have coaching sessions? It takes 20 relationships to manage, 20 sets of notes, 20 check-ins, 20 people whose results that you're responsible for. Who, baby, listen, I got tired just even saying it. And you're doing all of that for $500 per person? Let me tell you something. That is not a coaching business. That is a second job that pays less than your first job, and it doesn't even come with benefits. Okay. So now price that same 8 weeks at $2,000. So to generate $10,000, you need 5 clients. 5 clients. 5 clients. So that is 5 relationships that you can fully show up for. That is 5 people who get the best of what you have to offer. That is 5 clients who invested enough that they show up for the work. Because here's the thing, and I want you to write this down if you are taking notes. Clients who invest more do more. Clients who invest more do more, and it's not because they're better people. It's because they have more skin in the game. More skin in the game. The $500 client booked the session. The $2,000 client, she is committed to the transformation that you provide. And these are two totally different relationships. And here's the other thing. The $2,000 client, that's the one who's going to do the work. That's the one who's going to get the result. And that is the one that's going to tell 3 people about you. The $500 client is going to ask for a refund. So the price decision isn't about what the market will bear. It is about charging what your transformation is worth. And I spend a lot of time talking about pricing here on Nick at Noon because it is, I was going to say the single most important, but I'm going to broaden it and say it is one of the most important decisions that you're going to have to make and stick to in your business. And here's the thing. When you are able to stand on that number with conviction, everything changes in your business. And again, if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. The price decision, it is not a math problem. It is a belief problem. It is all about what do you believe your work is worth. Truly believe in your heart. It's not about what you think people will pay for. What do you believe your work is worth? Because the number you say in a sales conversation is a direct reflection of your belief. And your potential client can feel the difference between a coach who believes in her price and a coach who's just hoping that they don't get pushback when they say the number. So I'm going to ask you, which one are you right now? Drop your answer in the comments. And it's not because I'm here to judge. I'm here to have a real conversation. Because the price decision is the one that makes or breaks whether or not this business is something you can sustain. And I believe that you deserve to build something sustainable. Now, here's what I want you to understand about these 3 decisions. They're not sequential necessarily. So you don't make the who decision perfectly and then move to the transformation decision and then move to the price decision in a clean line. These 3 decisions, they talk to each other. The specificity of your who, it informs the articulation of your transformation. The clarity of your transformation, it informs the confidence in your price. And then the conviction of your price, it reinforces the specificity of who you're willing to work with at that level. So it's almost like instead of it being linear, it's more circular in nature because they talk to each other. And when all 3 decisions are made and committed to, something shifts. Your offer stops being something you're building and becomes something that you're delivering. And that shift is everything because you cannot sign clients for an offer that you're still building. You can only sign clients for an offer that you've committed to. And here's the thing that I want to close with on this. The women who are generating consistent income from their coaching skills are not the ones who made the perfect decisions. They're the ones who made the decisions. Somebody drop made in the comments. They made the decisions. They committed to a specific who, They committed to a specific transformation. They committed to a specific price. And then they started putting their offer in front of people. They refined their offer through the market's response. They adjusted the language of their offer based on what resonated with the market. And they raised their price when they saw exactly what they were delivering. But it all started with them committing to the decisions. They had to make the decisions. It's the decisions that made everything else possible for the women generating consistent income from their coaching skills. Made everything possible. Somebody drop made in the comments. So before I close, I want to remind you that registration for her income lab is open right now. You can click the link down in the description, or you can head over to my website at herincomeedit.com/workshop. Pricing $147 for general admission, $297 for VIP. We're going live on May 30th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Registration will close on May 29th. And here is why Her Income Lab ties directly to this episode. Her Income Lab is the room where these three decisions are going to get made. We are going to be building together. We are going to be live. We're going to be spending 3 hours together, and we're going to work through the who decision, the transformation decision, and the price decision for your specific offer. I will be there holding you to the specificity when you want to be vague. I will be there to hold you to the commitment when you want to defer. And at the end of this session, you leave with an offer that you can sell that same week. So if you've been sitting on any one of these three decisions, Her Income Lab is where you make it happen. Again, the link is in the description. Registration is open. You can go to my website at herincomeedit.com/workshop. And I want to invite you to come back tomorrow for Money Wednesday. We are going to be talking about money tomorrow. I am here Monday through Friday at noon Mountain Time. I want to thank all of you that popped in and out of this workshop. I got workshop on my mind. Who popped in and out of this conversation today. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube and turn your notifications on so you do not miss a beat. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I invite you to come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I'll see you then. Okay? All right. Bye.